Have you ever beaten your opponent so bad that you cannot even rejoice at it? I honestly feel like that's exactly how Donald Trump felt when debating Joe Biden. It was so utterly disappointing and just honestly sad. I mean, check this out, y'all.
We've got to do more on Friday's debate. As you know, myself and Kristen Tate were predicting for, of course, these debates were going to be disastrous. So let's let Kristen take it from here.
Yes, I mean, this could have been the most consequential presidential debate in at least modern political history. It's done for Joe Biden. I mean, it could not have been more of a disaster. During and after that debate, Chris, I received so many exasperated and panicked messages from liberals, some of whom I haven't even heard from a decade, stating that they were in complete shock over Biden's physical and mental state. And every single one of these Democrats told me that they think he needs to step down and be replaced with another candidate. And it's not just voters saying this, Chris. It is the elite of the elite in the Democratic Party. The New York Times itself, the editorial board said that he needs to step down at this.
So it's getting so bad that even the Democrats themselves, liberals themselves, are saying, man, we gotta cut the cord on this one. This is wraps. I mean, this is bad.
This point, and it's not just them. The New Yorker, The Economist, many other publications have done the same. So the president was at Camp David this weekend. Apparently he met with his family to discuss what he will do moving forward. But I've read that his family, especially Hunter Biden, who has been a key player in his advisory, has said that he should stick it out. So I don't know what's going to happen if he refuses to leave and all the powers that be want him gone.
Look, it's extraordinary stuff. And I think, as you say, that editorial board of the New York Times calling for him to stand down as the president, to not seek a second term, is very telling. The New York Times is the Bible of the liberal left in the United States, of course. But I want to talk about a dynamic here that won't be surprising to our viewers, Kristen, but I think it's very important to the dynamic in the United States. And that is, while we've been highlighting for years all the classic examples of where Joe Biden is losing his way and stumbling and bumbling and showing that he's not up to the job, the media, the mainstream media in the US, hasn't really focused on that a lot. So people might have been surprised when they switched on the debate and watched, they saw stuff like this for perhaps the first time.
Making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
Mercy. And do you see Trump's face? I mean, this dude literally looks like it's so ashamed how Joe Biden conducted himself during the debate. Trump doesn't even seem happy about this situation. He doesn't seem like he's ecstatic. He's just looking at this like, mercy. Like this is literally a massacre. Matter of fact, not even a massacre. This is really suicide. I mean, and who is the person that allowed Joe Biden to go up there and speak for himself? You know, Joe Biden's wife should be ashamed of herself. She really should. She should be ashamed of herself that she allowed this man to go out there and literally ridicule himself. But let's proceed, y'all.
Completely lost, Kristen, completely confused and nowhere to hide, and no media manipulation able to draw attention away from it.
Yes, I mean, to your point earlier, though, it's kind of mind-blowing to me how shocked Democrat voters are about Biden's poor mental and physical state. I mean, every single week, you and I are talking about some new mortifying incident exposing the fact that he's basically been a houseplant for the last few years. But I guess, you know, so many liberals, they just blindly believe whatever the media tells them. And the media and the Democrats, they thought that they could control reality by controlling the narrative. They do this with everything. They do this with the open border, which they tell us is secure. They do it with our cities, where they tell us crime is actually totally under control. And they were doing it with Joe Biden, telling us he's totally with it. He's the smartest guy in the room. Green John Peer gets up there at the podium and tells us, oh, he's never been sharper. But every once in a while, Chris, reality pokes through and exposes the truth. And in this case, it has completely shattered their faux narrative about Joe Biden. So now the entire establishment on the Democrat side is panicked and they don't know what to do.
Absolutely. Now, I think one of the aspects of the debate that hasn't got enough attention is that Donald Trump was a little bit more disciplined than we're used to seeing him. I mean, it was a weird debate in many ways. There's lots of Trumpisms in there, but he didn't go over the top, and that allowed him to have that contrast, the focus to fall on.
Right. He didn't go over the top because clearly there was no need. There was no need to do all the, the attacks that Donald Trump usually would engage in. There was no need for ad hominems. There was no need for him to ridicule Joe Biden because it was literally, all right, just let the dude crucify himself. That's literally what it was. I mean,
on to Joe Biden, and I want to just play this clip because this just showed the gentlest little niggle where Donald Trump was pointing out to the whole audience, the whole of the US and indeed the free world, what was going on here.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Yeah, it was pretty gentle. It was pretty telling. And it was a good performance from Trump, wasn't it, Kristen?
Yes, very restrained. He did have some great moments in there, but overall kind of a boring debate performance. But that was what was so key about it. If this election is a referendum on Trump, Trump loses. If it's a referendum on Joe Biden, Biden loses. And because we're all talking about Joe Biden, it's kind of becoming a referendum on him. Nobody's really talking about Trump. He was very restrained, and he kind of let Joe Biden expose himself for how weak he is, both physically and mentally.
Well, let's go back to the ramifications from all this. And first up, I want to show what Joe Biden had to say about the debate the following day. This is pretty telling too.
I don't walk as easy as I used to. I don't speak as smoothly as I used to. I don't debate as well as I used to. But I know what I do know. I know how to tell the truth.
Yeah, there you go. The president basically having to admit his own.
Okay. This dude was, stumbling on his words even by saying that. Okay, he knows how to tell the truth, so just tell the truth. You're mentally unstable and incapable of leading the country. That would be the truth. That would be telling the American people the truth rather than playing this game where, you've been running for 3.5 years, presenting yourself as if you're someone that is capable of running the country. You're unstable. You're unstable. And that's not me trying to attack the man. Again, I started off the video by saying that I actually think it's sad. It's nothing to rejoice about. But, I mean, you just sit down. Again, I just don't understand why they even put him up there. Because literally it is like a running joke. All throughout his presidency, they always kept showing these bloopers and all these highlights of him literally crapping the proverbial pants. And, the way his wife would speak to him, which you're about to see in the video as well. You will see his wife speak to him like a little child. It's disgusting.
Problems. He says he knows what he does know, which is probably not difficult because it's not looking like very much these days. And then we had the humiliation really of seeing Jill Biden, his wife, having to speak for him. Have a look.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the
Oh my gosh. You did. Look at his wife. Joe, you did such a good job. You answered every question. That's a flex. That's a flex. That's something that we should be rejoicing about because you answered every question. Do you see how she's literally talking to this man like a toddler? And look at this guy smiling like he did something because he answered every question. That's what everybody what a functional mind is supposed to do. We have lowered the standards in America to an unprecedented level, and now it's getting so bad. I mean, truth be told, this needed to happen. This needed to happen because honestly, the Democrats, the liberals have been, running carte blanche for such a long time, not being checked by anybody, and they were spinning the narrative continually. They always trying to make it seem as if, the conservative way of thinking is totally wrong, and that we should divorce ourselves from, traditional values. I mean, they've been running with this narrative for so long, and the main person pushing this narrative, you got your man right here. But it's very clear. This is the real thing that I want you guys to really think about, right? This man clearly is not running the country. That should be extremely clear. He is not running the country because he doesn't have the mental capabilities to run the country. So just as that woman said earlier in the video, he is a house plant. So they pretty much put him there as a figurehead, but he is not the actual one making the regulations, the rules, enforcing the laws. He is not the one that's doing it. So the question that people need to be asking is, who behind the scene is actually running things? Because that's the individual that we should be, truly blaming for the high interest rates, the inflation, you get what I'm saying, the open border, which bringing a bunch of violence to major cities like New York, and you know what I'm saying, like these are the individuals now that we really need to be looking at, and we need to not only look at them, expose them so that we can openly rebuke them, openly condemn them for how they led America into the shithole. That's pretty much it. It is sad, but I do believe fundamentally it was a necessary evil so that we could finally put this circus freak show behind us. America needs to move on. And truth be told, I'm not even sure if, first of all, look, from a biblical standpoint, I don't think any of these presidents are going to make is going to really change anything. But we definitely need better representation than Joe Biden, because we are literally the laughing stock to all these countries out there. It's extremely sad. But what say if you? I would love to hear your opinions on this matter. Do you think I'm looking at this from the wrong angle? Please put it in the comment section down below. I would like to hear what you guys have to say concerning how. I mean, look at this guy. Look at this guy. I would like to hear what you guys think about this whole situation and how Joe Biden has been conducting himself during the presidential debate. Anyway, with that being said, Nick over and out. The message sent. Jesus is king, y'all.